The young CEO called me a relic and replaced my life's work with an AI. He forgot I designed the system's backdoors. At 72, you learn to recognize the scent of a storm. The one I smelled that Tuesday wasn't rain, it was the cloying aroma of cheap ambition and expensive cologne. It belonged to Mark Stetson, the 30-something tech CEO who had just acquired Keystone Logistics, the company I had co-founded after a 30-year career in the Army. He stood on the stage of the company auditorium, a shark in a tailored suit, a predatory gleam in his eyes. I was Colonel Beatrice B. Rohan, retired. I knew the global supply chain like the back of my hand because, in many ways, I had drawn the map. Stetson, however, saw only the past. The future of logistics is not about experience or intuition, he announced to the assembled employees, my employees, people I had mentored for decades. His gaze flickered to me in the front row. It's about data. Pure, predictive, and powerful. He unveiled his creation, Aegis, an AI platform that promised flawless efficiency. Then came the blade. We have to shed the relics of a bygone era, he said, his voice slick with false sympathy. B. Rohan's contributions were foundational. Of course. But her time has passed. He announced my immediate, forced retirement. He didn't just fire me. He called me a fossil in front of my life's work, a glorified quartermaster whose wisdom was now obsolete. The silence from my team was thick with shock and fear. The storm had broken, and I was standing in the downpour, alone. Defeat is a bitter pill, but fury is a powerful stimulant. In the quiet of my study, surrounded by maps and military histories, the humiliation cooled into a familiar, crystalline resolve. Stetson saw a little old lady. He'd forgotten I was one of the original architects of military cybersecurity. He didn't know that his flashy Aegis platform was just a new coat of paint on the robust digital architecture I had designed years ago. An architecture with failsafes. With backdoors. My revenge would not be a cannonball, but a whisper. I would not destroy his system, I would teach it, and him, a lesson in humility. From the calm of my suburban home, using old administrative credentials his arrogant tech team never bothered to fully purge, I became a ghost in his machine. I started small, introducing tiny, untraceable anomalies that preyed on the AI's lack of real-world context. A critical shipment of medical supplies to a base in Germany was rerouted by Aegis through the Swiss Alps in mid-January. The AI, seeking the shortest route, couldn't comprehend the concept of a snow-closed mountain pass. The official report cited an unforeseeable weather delay. A week later, a container of rations was mislabeled, sending 10,000 cases of jalapeno pepper jack MREs to a unit with a specific dietary restriction against spicy food. A minor inventory error. I subtly altered predictive maintenance algorithms, causing a few transport trucks to break down in highly inconvenient, though non-critical, locations. Each incident was a whisper of chaos, a seed of doubt planted in the pristine garden of Stetson's data. The tension was rising with every unlucky glitch. The final test for Stetson was a multi-billion-dollar Pentagon contract. All he had to do was prove Aegis could handle the real-time logistics for a massive, live-fire war game in the Nevada desert. The command tent was filled with four-star generals, the very people I used to advise. This was to be Stetson's coronation. It would be his classroom. I knew the war game's parameters intimately. I had helped write the original manual. The night before the exercise, I didn't plant a virus. I uploaded a single, elegant piece of code disguised as a routine diagnostic patch. It was a logic bomb designed to do one thing: teach the AI about the fog of war. As the exercise began, Aegis was flawless. Stetson was beaming, schmoozing the generals. Then, my logic bomb triggered. It began feeding the AI a stream of tiny, plausible inconsistencies, phantom heat signatures from desert wildlife, fractional GPS drifts caused by atmospheric interference, duplicate supply requests from a tired platoon leader. The AI, designed for perfect data and absolute efficiency, tried to solve for a chaos it couldn't comprehend. It began to optimize itself into oblivion. Ammunition was rerouted to a grid square occupied by coyotes. A fuel tanker was dispatched to a phantom convoy that existed only as a data echo. The entire logistical backbone of the mock war ground to a halt, not with a catastrophic crash, but with the quiet hum of 1,000 perfectly executed, nonsensical commands. In the command tent, I watched via a secure feed as the color drained from Stetson's face. General Wallace, a grizzled old colleague of mine, turned to him, his voice dangerously calm. "Mr. Stetson," he said, the silence in the tent absolute. "Your machine appears to be having a nervous breakdown. It's a damn good thing this isn't real, or we'd have an entire brigade stranded without bullets or water." He paused, his eyes like chips of ice. "Get me Colonel Rohan on the line. Now." Patched into the chaotic command tent via a video call. I felt a grim sense of satisfaction. I didn't gloat or confess. I simply went to work. General, I said, my voice calm and clear. Check the thermal overlays. Your AI is chasing heat blooms from the salt flats. Have your men recalibrate their GPS manually, the ionosphere is playing tricks today. One by one, I talked the on-site teams through a series of manual overrides and common-sense solutions. I diagnosed the problems not as a hacker, but as a logistician, who understood that desert dust clogs air filters, that soldiers get tired and make mistakes, and that the real world is messy. I explained why the AI had failed. I gave a masterclass in the value of human experience. The Pentagon contract was immediately put on ice. Stetson's company stock plummeted. But my victory wasn't in his failure. It was in the official report, penned by General Wallace himself, which concluded that any future AI logistics system must be built around a core of human oversight and command. My wisdom was no longer a relic, it was now official Pentagon policy. My final scene of revenge wasn't watching Stetson's downfall. It was 3 months later, standing at a lectern at West Point. General Wallace had invited me to guest lecture the new generation of cadets. He introduced me not as a retiree, but as the architect of the very logistical strategies that keep our soldiers safe today. My legacy wasn't erased. It was being etched into the minds of the future. I wasn't a ghost in the machine anymore. I was the teacher, the lesson, and the last woman standing. My justice wasn't revenge, it was relevance. Colonel Rohan's story is a powerful testament that wisdom never becomes obsolete. It's a reminder for anyone who has ever been called a relic, had their experience dismissed, or been pushed aside for a newer, shinier model. True value isn't always flashy, sometimes, it's the quiet, steady hand of experience that saves the day. Have you ever had to prove that your knowledge was irreplaceable? We want to hear about it. Share your moment of triumph in the comments below. For more stories celebrating timeless wisdom and earned respect, subscribe to Chosen Revenge. Your experience is your power, and your story deserves to be heard.